drop-offs here and there. Nicole and I are actually, for some of our bigger firms, we're doing more like extravagant juice bars, but for the ones that don't reciprocate well to go to lunch or even, you know, let us come in and talk to them from time to time, we're just going to drop off little like juice things. And we had the marketing team make a little flyer that said, you know, come, here's like a little cleanse for the new year, and we're just going to drop it off. We went to the dollar store and got these plastic bins. I can send you guys pictures so they could sit in ice for a little while and put like a little sign there and just kind of say like thinking of you, so you know they can see you but not see you.
No, sure. Yeah, no, it all makes perfect sense. So it's kind of like continue doing what, you know, is working and meeting with designers under her, but then maybe do these little extra, you know, pop-ins that, you know, maybe can get her out of that normal, I don't know, you know, doesn't want to be just, you know, blinders mode, you know.
Yeah, and some people, unfortunately, no matter if you've been a rep for 25 years or 2 years, like some of those directors, unfortunately, just don't ever warm up and just don't ever want to have that correspondence. And I think at that point you just got to kind of accept it and move on. And gosh, at least you've gotten a 4,000-yard job out of, you know, the rest of her designers. But yeah, maybe just trying like little coffees and just random little pop-ins and stuff like that. You might just kind of catch her one day.
Cool. I will do it. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, well, good job on that.
Thanks.
And I don't really have anything else to add to that. I mean, I would say that I think that you're doing the right things, and the things that Shelby suggested are important as well. You know, you kind of have to think of the hierarchy, too, of a A&D firm. And she may be the person who her task is to be in front of their clients and presenting, you know, the end result, the end design. And so to her, it's not a personal thing, but it may not be important to her to meet with the sales reps because she knows that she's got, not for lack of a better word, but she's got underlings beneath her that's their role. So, you know, try not to take it personally. It sounds like that, you know, she gets involved when she feels like she needs to, because it might be that she's a little bit of a type A personality when, you know, when it needs to be, and she wants to make sure that everything's reined in. But it sounds like that I think you're doing the complete right thing. And maybe if you add, you know, some of the things that Shelby's talking about, and I agree with Shelby, it may be that you never meet her. I mean, at some point, you may think she's a figment of your imagination. So, and that's okay, too, because as long as you've got the support from the folks beneath her who are doing the actual selecting, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I think, just kind of to piggyback off that, I think a lot of people are quick to write off, and I'm not saying you are at all. You've clearly not written them off because you've gotten par with the other designers, but a lot of people are even quick to write off like intern designers, junior designers. Those are actually the ones that, like in your situation, do the selecting. And so essentially they will take it to somebody that's higher than them, their director that they report to, and show them and tell them all about the product and get them real excited internally. Unfortunately, sometimes you'll never know that, but it is crazy when people don't want to physically meet that rep that could answer more in-depth questions that I'm sure she's asking the other designers. But, you know, at least those designers are doing a good job of selling what you've already sold to them. But you're right, Christina, a lot of times they just kind of want to stay the ones in front of the client and don't necessarily care to meet with the reps. But it's kind of their loss at the end of the day, but at least her designers are doing a good job of selling you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. Even just, I got her on the phone once. I was completely surprised I was able to get her on the phone, but I could tell, and it was something that she, you know, some information she requested. So, but I could tell, like, the 10-second to 30-second conversation we had on the phone, I could have sworn I heard under her breath, you know, it was like she was really wanting to say, okay, rep, get the heck off the phone, you know. You know, it was like, this has already gone on too long. 20 seconds, you know.
That can happen, but try not to take it personal at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't at all. You're doing the right things.
Yeah. Any other questions, Joe?
You know, that was my main concern, because it was, you know, I've met with a lot of A&D firms, and that was like really the only one where it was kind of like one person stood out as almost like, I don't want to meet with any reps, you know. So
yeah.
Cool.
Right. When in reality, it's like, you need us as much as we need you. Come on, don't you have hard questions to ask me that only I can answer?
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, and it was, you
especially
know, she had a lot of very good questions about kinetics and, but it was, it was just kind of, she needed to know this information, but it was almost like she was unwilling to do the right things to get the information properly, So.
Okay, good question.
Thank you.
All right, Julie Luhu over in San Antonio.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, so I'm piggybacking on top of Joe, but just kind of, same question. When you get the brush off and you send emails and you pop in for a visit and you're just still not getting any response, like no response, phone calls, and I know, Shelby, you're like the most creative person I know, you and Jody. But
you haven't met my partner, Nicole, but no, thank you.
I mean, this collaborative effort is so helpful to somebody like me who is not very creative. But I love your idea with coffee and just kind of random things. Those are things that I don't think of because logistically, I'm like, okay, black or white. How do I know what everybody wants? How is it going to be a surprise if I overthink it? So, I mean, I think my question is exactly not so specific to one person, but more about when you keep getting the brush off, what are some small things that don't take a lot of planning and effort to show the firm that you're not going to disappear, like you haven't forgotten about them even though they aren't giving you the time of day.
Yeah.
You're still going to stalk them, no matter.
Right. I'm like
after not you. Leaving.
Every breath you take.
Right. Exactly. Maybe you get a boombox, like Say Anything, and you sing that outside of their office.
Bring a megaphone through the office.
Right. That's creative. I'm just saying, you'll be remembered. You may have a restraining order the following day, but you'll be remembered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just kidding.
Do you ever get, like, do they randomly email you for like a sample request, or just, do they have library update guidelines, or are you just like never allowed to go in there? You've never talked to anybody, that sort of thing, or?
Yes. I have a couple of firms that I really want to get into, and despite phone calls and, popping in and they're, of course, do you have an appointment? No, but I'm new. I can't get past the front person, and then the designer or the librarian, whoever I'm supposed to be in contact with, doesn't return a phone call or an email.
Yeah, you'll definitely get some of those. Okay, several things. My first thing, collaboration with other non-compete reps is golden because they can also, you can bounce ideas off of them. Hey, have you struggled at this firm? There's a couple firms here that there's an ongoing joke with a bunch of reps. It's like, I don't know who they specify. They don't call anybody. You go in there, you update the library. They even have good library update hours. You can, go in there, you don't see anybody really, but it's like, who do they specify? So, but if you have like a little non-compete rep group, or even when you're in a library and you see some other reps, I would just exchange business cards, get to know them, maybe grab some lunch or coffee with them, and then you can kind of collaborate ideas like, this is a difficult firm for me. Do you know anybody over there? That has been the biggest way that I've gotten into a lot of firms that I've had big breakthroughs with, is through other relationships. I kind of piggyback off of, oh, she's really tight with this designer. If you're not able to get into the library to update, of course, that's really hard. So unfortunately, it's going to have to kind of be like a grow a relationship kind of thing, either through another rep or through other designers. There's a lot of designers around here, and I'm sure in all areas, that have gone to school together. And maybe I'm good with one of the designers at another firm, and actually I'm doing this for one in January. A girl that specifies us a lot, she just got engaged, so her like girlfriend at a firm I have a hard time with, we're all going to go out and celebrate her engagement. So it's kind of a lot of just connecting the dots and who has strengths there. But Christina and I talked about this on another call. If some people are just completely shutting you out, you you'll still kind of try, of course. You don't want to just write them off, but sometimes it's just better to cut your losses and move on to the people who are actually responding well. You know, I guess never totally give up, try to get in, but I would definitely say just network a little bit more through some reps that can maybe give you guidance. Hey, this is how I had a breakthrough. Or just kind of put them on the back burner for a little bit and move on to the other, you know, fruitful ones that'll actually give you some immediate business.
Okay.
And I would say, too, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, that you know, everybody knows that I've had 5 territories with J&J. The unfortunate part is only one of them was super, super fruitful in the beginning. So the other ones were like Nashville that had 15 reps since 1985. So I was nobody. There was no value in the J&J brand. There was no value in who I was. So I became known as the person any season, and I would make seasons up. It would be like, happy spring, happy Valentine's Day, happy 4th of July, and I'd have like sparklers with, you know, with a ribbon with my name tied to it. And even if I never had an appointment, I would roll into those firms, and you have to realize I had to pack my car for a week. So I would have treats galore, and non-food treats because it was easier for transport. But I would just roll into those firms, say, hey, how many designers are with your group? You know, I'm new, and I just want to leave behind some treats. And it would have my business card. And it wouldn't happen the first time I rolled in there, but maybe the 3rd or the 4th time, some sweet designer who was having a great day would email me a thank you. Hey, thanks so much for the whatever it was. We appreciate it. That then, she or he was my ticket into that firm. I no longer went through who the receptionist said I needed to or whoever the resource librarian was. I went through that person. So if it was Sarah Smith who sent me an email that was like, thanks so much for the Valentine's treats, that was so kind of you, I would then respond, you are so welcome. Hey, I'm having a hard time getting in to see you guys. Is there a way that I could schedule a time through you to get that done or, you know, get to know you better? So I agree with Shelby completely, networking and using other, you know, non-competitive reps, but also do the treat drop-off thing and do it consistently. My goal for A&D is to get in to see each of them monthly at the least. Now, if I've got stuff that is sample drop-off or stuff that's relevant to them or other needs to be in there, awesome. But monthly, I'm going to give them stuff, treats. And it's not going to be expensive stuff because I'm not going to blow my budget for people who are ignoring me. But I promise in a few months or a few trips of doing that, somebody will reach out and thank you. And that is then who you go through.
Yeah. You know what, Christina, do you have that photo? I could probably try to dig it up. I know Nicole has it, of the popcorn thing that Nicole did when she was new to the territory, like just popping in to say hello and introduce myself. Okay, Nicole did this and it was really inexpensive. She literally went to the dollar store, and I was just in there gathering some stuff for our juice bars. I know they still have them. So Dollar Tree, Dollar General, whatever dollar store, you know, they have these little these cute popcorn tins that are $1. And then she got some popcorn and put them in there and other little things. And she had marketing makeup, a cute little sign that said, just popping in to introduce myself as your new rep, you know, looking forward to working with you, you know, in 2017 or whatever. She got a lot of good responses. And when she was in some of the libraries dropping them off, you know, she got to talk to some people. But that was a cute way to leave a gift and then, you know, kind of tie in the creative element with I'm your new rep and I'm popping in to say hello. But yeah, the goodies are definitely another thing. Somebody else, this might tie into another question, but I send out like product flyers. So when we have new product launches, I'll send it to the whole firm. Now, the downside is if you can't get into a firm, you might not have any active email addresses in your system. But as you start to compile them, you can send out new like product launch flyers. And yeah, just like Christina said, if you get one person to respond, you just kind of jump on it immediately and say, oh, thank you so much for, you know, looking at this email. I'd love to grab lunch and get to know the rest of the team. But I wouldn't completely give up, you know, but there's little ways that you can kind of get in there and let them know you exist.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, Julie?
No, just that I've had also on that, kind of in that same breath, I've had a couple of my flooring contractors, like the designer or the person who will help specify within the flooring contractor firm will, you know, has offered to kind of go out with me to a couple of firms.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that'll
Yeah.
be, you know, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I'm hoping that will help.
Launch you into, some firms where you didn't have relationships.
Right.
Yeah, no, use those people. There's a lot of folks in, some of us are not real keen on flooring contractors, and it happens. However, there are some flooring contractors that are very influential in the design community, and they actually have people who go after A&D firms. So not all of them, but there are some that exist, and they're super savvy, and if you can link into them, they're almost like business development people, essentially. They can really kind of pull you through, almost like a non-competing rep can. So I think that's a smart play on your part.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you get to know those other reps too, like I've said, hey, do you mind if I come to that lunch with you with the group? Could I split a presentation with you? So yeah, I think that the doors will start to open when you start just kind of talking a little bit to others and connecting the dots on things. And, you can kind of collaborate on stuff and get to meet people. And, other reps, of course, are anxious to do that too because it helps them grow their business and save their budget. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, y'all.
Good question.
Yeah.
Laura Luhu, any questions from you, ma'am, up in Chicago?
Yes, I have a question. How do you get out of the friend zone? So I have a couple of good friends.
Is this dating advice?
Yeah, wait a second. Whoa.
You're married, by the way.
I have a couple of good friends that we were friends before I was a rep. They're designers. One specifically is a senior designer in Perkins Eastman, and I've had the hardest time getting them to specify anything. I think with this new outside-in collection, we've got a crack of light into there as a potential, but I just wanted to talk to you guys about, like, how do you politely say, like, what's going on? Why aren't you specifying me,
I'm going to answer, if you don't mind, Shelby, real quick.
Yeah,
I will tell you, I had an issue with that. Lauren Totsky is another one who had an issue with that when she first started in Orlando. There's an old saying, and there's some truth to it. Sometimes you have to fire your friends, and not in a harsh way, but I had a firm that I did, like every Friday it would be lunch and manis and petties, but I was not getting the bulk of their business. It came Interface, Mr. Kevin Parks, the infamous that Shelby probably hates now that he's with Candace, but he got all of their business. And I knew for a fact he never came out of Atlanta to, deal with anybody in Chattanooga. And so after probably, I'm not kidding, I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but a year or two of letting this happen and me getting scrapped. And these people would come to my Christmas parties at my home. They were actually invited to my wedding, stuff like that, it embarrasses me now to say it. But I eventually had to just have a real heart-to-heart that, I was very candid and very honest. And I just said, I love our relationship. I love seeing you all. I love that you're basically part of my life. But the reality is that this is my job. And if I, compare you to another firm in the same town, I'm getting 20% of your business maybe. With these other firms that I don't have such ingrained relationships with are giving me much, much more. And some of them, out of the 4 of them, received that and got it and started to throw me some bones. I actually got more sample orders, and it wasn't necessarily that I was right for every project, but I could see that they were moving the needle and trying. Some of them, it never changed. And so the reality is I had to fire my friends. I spent less time there, and I started going after the people who could give me work. The blessing for you in an area like Chicago is, by God, we're probably not touching, hell, I would probably say 50% of some of those firms because there's just so much going on. So I think you need to be transparent and candid in a kind manner. And like Shelby said earlier, I don't think you totally ignore them. That's not the point. But I do think that you could probably cultivate other opportunities in other firms that would be easier.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. Shelby, what do
Yeah,
you,
and
what
we
do you
sent
have to
her
say?
to the senior living symposium. She's been involved in a lot of things. She came down for a mill trip, and now it's just, you know, we get these teeny tiny projects, but I know they're doing huge senior living facilities. So
Yeah.
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 Well, like you said, maybe with the new products and stuff, you'll kind of be able to hit more of the mark. But I didn't have any that, you know, to the extent that I had taken her on a mill tour and then, you know, maybe other fun things. But actually the firm I used to work with,
Hello?
until I left, and she's still there. And we'll go to lunch all the time. You know, she sends me Merry Christmas text messages. Like, we're friends outside work. She does not specify me a lick. So I just kind of started, you know, not completely ignoring her, but I don't really take her to lunch anymore. I don't, you know, wine and dine her. You know, we'll take her team out. But, yeah, I've kind of had to just, like, step away from that, too, because I totally know where you are, Laura. It's so frustrating when you're like, well, I'm glad that we're good buddies and stuff, but you're not specifying me at all. Like,
Right.
what's going on? Where's the disconnect here?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, actually on one occasion, when I talked to her, I was like, is there anything we can be doing? Like, what sort of products are you looking for? What are your price points? Is there something that we're missing in our collection? But it sounds like you've kind of done that because she's given feedback in symposiums and stuff
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I think the good news is we did set up something for January for our whole team because they are really excited about outside in. I think it does open up a new door that we didn't maybe have before. So hopefully it'll turn around in 2017. But the friend zone tends to be a thing every once in a while for some good designers. So thanks, guys.
Okay, any other questions, Laura?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Pamela, you are next on my list. And thank you for being here because I saw that you were on vacation. So, are you on vacation through today?
No, I'm back today.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just saw you're out of office and I didn't expect to see you on here. So, well, welcome back.
Which thought, but thanks.
Sure.
So this is, I mean, obviously, all of these are related, and all our complaints or difficulties are similar. But so, what if you've gotten into a firm many times? You've PK'd them to death. Anytime you have new product, they are so open to a coffee break. When you show them the product, they love it. You might even get a sample order out of that. But this one firm in particular, I've maybe gotten one project in the last 2 years, and not even a very big one at that. I have no problem getting in, but I'm not getting the spec.
Yeah. I have a firm like that here too, and I've kind of just eased away from them. I have no problem getting in. I can do library updates whenever I want. I can do product displays whenever I want. I've taken like the junior designer lunch because she's the only one that will give me the time of day. It's another situation where I used to work with one of the girls there, and she won't even give me the time of day. But as I started talking to my other reps in the networking groups I'm in, that was one of the instances where we were like, I don't know who they specify because they don't call on me, they don't call on this girl I know and that girl I know. So I just kind of started easing away. And actually, this is just another example of, you know, don't give up, but don't spend all your time there, because when I dropped off Skyline and Elevated a few months ago, they finally ordered some samples for a church. And then another one the other week ordered some kinetic samples for a school. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm finally having a breakthrough. And of course, I took that opportunity to say I'd love to take you to lunch, you know, as soon as I got a little nugget. But I've been in this territory for 3 years in March, and it's taken that long to get through to some of them. So it's kind of what Christina and I were saying in the other call too, like, don't ever completely give up, still kind of go in, just don't spend a ton of money, don't spend a ton of time on them, just, you know, hope that maybe the product, you know, actually speaks to them one day and, you know, jump on it when they do reach out. But, you know, I think if you've just been beating your head up against the wall for it sounds like a long time, you know, I just wouldn't keep all your focus there, because some people just are that difficult. And it made me feel better through talking in the network group, because you start thinking, like, what am I doing wrong? You know, it's probably not you. It's probably not your product. It's just, you know, maybe they're real tight with one rep and that's all they use or something. But yeah, and I mean the other thing I mentioned briefly, so when new products come out, like I do try to do the product displays if people allow it, but I don't know if you guys ever use those sales flyers. You know, I'll start to kind of gather email addresses here and there, and then I send out just little product flyers with, you know, hey, check this out, and sometimes I'll get a response like, oh, those photos are beautiful, like I'll keep this collection in mind for a project. And I know my partner Nicole and I have had a lot of success. We'll lay out displays and say, you know, the first person to respond and tell us what you like about this collection on display in the library will get, you know, I think it wasn't a Tervis tumbler. It's, what are those cool cooler things? The Yeti cooler, like a little Yeti koozie cooler thing. And so we've gotten a lot of good responses from that, just kind of dangling a carrot in front of them. But I mean, yeah, it sounds like you're doing all the right things. It's so hard when you're just beating your head up against the wall, but I would just say maybe ease off the brakes a little bit and put your efforts elsewhere if you've tried, and maybe you'll have that breakthrough soon. What do you think, Christina?
No, I completely agree. I mean, I think it's just one of those, and it sounds like we've had, I think what should make you guys feel better is a lot of you are having the same issues.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes there's, I don't know, at least I do. I feel better when others have the same challenges I have, because then I realize that it can't be that we all are terrible and that we all have a terrible line. So it should make you feel like you're not alone, basically. So I completely agree with everything that you said, Shelby. I mean, I think that, you know, after you've tried and like you said, beat your head against a wall, at some point maybe it's not worth totally abandoning them, but, you know, moving on to somewhere else that could be more fruitful for you.
Yeah.
Good question, Pamela. Any other questions?
That's it for me. It's going to be a great year, though.
Glad to hear you're back. Thank you, man. All right, Ryan over in California, any questions?
Mine were all kind of on the same line, so I'll kind of go a different direction. What's your strategy when a new collection comes out to make sure that everybody gets it? I tend to be pretty type A, where I have to be like super organized to make sure that the people I want to see get the product. Are there any suggestions on organization tips or any things that you do to make sure that you stay organized with who got what?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, first and foremost, and I know Christina has a lot to do with this, is that Quest is like such a phenomenal tool. You know, you don't have to call log it to death with detailed things, but I love that library update tool. Hopefully everybody has seen it and uses it, but I always make sure that I update that when I leave a library so I know exactly what book they have on their shelf, the last time I was in there, have they seen this, have they seen that, because, you know, obviously your schedules get very busy, so that's just a good tool to keep you in check. You know, I claim to be pretty organized, but definitely with 2 kids and a busy schedule, things just slip out of my mind, so I like having that in there as a reminder. But the first thing, you know, like, let's take the outside-in collection. So I've kind of been holding back on that. I'm so anxious to hand those books out to people. But I'm going to do that right in the beginning of January with a bunch of our juice bars and stuff. But I'll definitely, of course, you know, look through my top design firms and, you know, even maybe some dealers who focus on senior living and just kind of reassess, of course, which ones are the most important to get those books on their shelf first. If people allow me to do displays, I'll set up, you know, most of mine have enough room that I could do maybe one of each of those outside-in samples, since we've got the plank, the 24 by 24, and then an 18 by 18 broadloom. And then, of course, I leave the book, and those flyers are so great, those little magazines. I know they're in the book, but if you guys haven't ordered any of the loose ones, a lot of times in my display, I'll leave a loose magazine, too, so they can, you know, flip through that, maybe take it back to their desk. I'll open it to a really pretty photo, but I mean, I'm right now kind of gathering my samples, and I go through, like, I keep a list of which firms let me do displays, which firms don't let me do displays, and then every month, like when I get a new launch out, I'll reassess, okay, these are the firms I can do displays at. will they like this collection? If they don't like this collection, will I at least go put it on the shelf? Do I think I'll get like maybe a little bit from it? What colors would they like? So I've already put in my sample request with Rose to, you know, be ready to display them next week. Of certain colors that would maybe, you know, they would resonate with. I'm trying to think of some other things that we do. Like I said, you know, of course you always hope people go to your displays, but putting like maybe a little prize, like sending an email out to the office with maybe the flyer and saying, you know, maybe the first 5, you know, they get Starbucks gift cards from me with, you know, off of our promo store, of course, since we can't purchase gift cards. Just little things that you say, you know, the first of you to respond to tell me what you like about the new collection, because then you actually make them go look at it. Trying to think what are some other things with new launches. I mean, of course, it's just getting them on the shelf is priority number 1, but displays are always the best thing if they allow that. And then just getting your presentations on the schedule. But even photos, like something as simple, if you don't want to send the official flyer, Nicole started doing this, and then I picked up on it from her, actually, and Nicole's my partner. So she, during her presentations, you know, we all kind of take photos of what we think are, you know, stellar palettes that we put together. And she just simply started sending them to a lot of the firms she was having a hard time with and just say, hope you're having a good day. Here's some, you know, cool new stuff mixed with some of our, you know, older styles that, you know, just wanted to show you guys to, you know, pique your imagination on any projects you're working on. And so she's gotten a lot of good response with that too. I don't know, I hope that answered your question with kind of our thought process when we have new collections that come out.
No, that's perfect. I was reminded about the library tool. I had made an Excel spreadsheet, and it was just getting really, I have a huge territory, and it was getting so big and so overflowing, and I was just like, oh, geez. So now that I'm reminded about that tool, I'll probably put all the information in that, because I think that'll help me a lot.
Well, and at first, you know, it takes a little while, of course. You're going to spend a little time in each library if you have nothing in your library. But once you get that thing rocking and rolling, and of course, we've had a lot of product drops and tons of product launches. So, you know, it's been a fabulous tool for all those reasons, because you can be like, oh, darn it, they still have patina on their shelf or something. I should go grab that. Or if I want to maintain my shelf space, I'm going to go keep that book in there. But I'm going to write a little note that says, you know, this is made to order, such and such, or that one is ceased to manufacture, but other ones that are made to order, you know, always kind of maintaining your shelf space. I'm sure Christina has said that, but that library tool is so good, because right now, you know, we've had more drops and launches than ever before, so it is hard to keep ourselves organized, but that seems to be the best way.
And just as a reminder, I mean, I talk about this in training, but I know that you guys are fed with so much information. The easiest way to do that library update, especially for a firm that, you know, maybe they have to escort you in and out of the library, or you don't want to spend a lot of time there because they make it seem awkward, whatever it is, if you'll just take a picture with your phone of the shelf and then send yourself an email with that picture and just put Gensler's Library or whomever the firm is. And then you can also, you know, you can go back to the car and pull it over into the library section in Quest. So that's always the easiest way I've found. I mean, I've gotten kind of addicted to taking pictures. I'll take pictures of the property management group outside of a building and email it to myself. It'll be, you know, like whatever the design firm is in that building, I'll say call on so-and-so in my subject line. So the more that you can kind of rely on that, and that way you're not taking up a ton of time, especially, like I said, if they're escorting you into that library.
Yeah. Yep.
Any other questions, Ryan?
No, I think I'm good. You know, all the other ones I had were similar to that. I can't get in, so that was perfect.
Good. Anybody else have any other questions that they would like to put out there? All right. Well, I appreciate y'all coming up with the time to dedicate to this and asking the questions. I offer this to the last group. If you have questions, you know, in the future and you want to send them to myself, let me know. I'll forward them on to Shelby, and I can kind of compile them and send them out to the group that was interested in feedback, so to speak. Happy to do that. And if you've got things that are working and you want to share that, do that as well. I mean, like I said, I think everybody learns better from your peers most of the time. So just want to open that up as an opportunity. So I appreciate, Shelby, your time this morning. Thank you so much, as always. And like I said, if y'all need anything else, just let us know. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Happy
everybody.
New Year.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy New Year. Thanks,
Happy
guys.